So, Jenny, we are doing well with our Bold Beginnings series. A few more episodes left to record. I'm beginning, as I told you earlier, but more and more getting nice feedback from people, newly diagnosed people who have found it and are enjoying it, finding it to be helpful.
Yay!
It's really been a fulfilling thing, which, if you all know me, like I don't say things like I feel
Which is
fulfilled.
awesome.
Yeah, but I really do. And so interestingly enough, I got a note yesterday from a guy, a young man's probably 22, 23 years old, just graduated from college. And it's going to fit in nicely with the topic we're doing today. So today's topic is community. And I'm not the type of person who prior to diabetes would have said to you, you know how you handle problems in your life. You surround yourself with people who understand. Like I did not grow up that would have seemed granola and crunchy to me prior to all this. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah. Yes.
Now I am a firm believer in it. I am a firm believer in the idea that people who understand your situation are in a unique situation themselves, and they're able to offer you support, even if it's not directly, that you can't get anywhere else. I've never...
Right.
The experience of seeing a person feel supported with just the knowledge that someone else understands, and they don't even know each other, is fascinating. I never thought I would see that, but there are the vast majority of people who listen to this podcast or go on my Facebook group or in another community, never say a word. They don't type a message. They don't send me a note to tell me they enjoy the podcast. They're just there. Right?
Yes.
And there's something really magical about it.
There is. It's a feeling of, as you said, I mean, a lot of people, I think, are, for one example, Facebook, they're lurkers, right?
Yeah.
They sort of just are there. And what they get out of it is either information or against a sense of like belonging to a group that gets it as well in whatever realm of, chronic condition or lifestyle or whatever you might have. I mean, there are lots and lots of Facebook groups for things.
Sure.
But diabetes being such it's something always that's there. And I think you can find posts all the time. Something new. This is happening. I had this occur. And there's always somebody who's going to chime in and say, I've had that happen too. I kind of feel it. I get it.
Yeah. Well, the people who listen to the podcast teach me what the podcast is, which is a weird thing because I'm the one that makes it, but they're the one who tells me, they're the ones who tell me what it is to them, which is an interesting, it's an odd dichotomy, right? Because I think I'm doing one thing. Like if you would have asked me 5 years ago and even maybe 3 years ago, I would have told you the podcast is about managing insulin. That's it. That's how I saw it. And then I one day had this young girl on in her mid-20s, and she's like, I started listening to the podcast and my A1Cs came down. And I thought, probably a little like smugly, I was like, oh yeah, because you heard how I talk about insulin. It fixed your whole thing, right? And she goes, no, I always knew that stuff, she said. I just never did it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what made you do it? And she goes, I don't know. She's like, just hearing that other people were doing it, and that I just thought, well, I probably could too, and then she just did it. So I didn't know that. Like her conversation and other conversations and notes taught me that it's almost strange because I don't have it in my life the same way that other people do because I'm the one making it. So like I can't be involved in it the same way. I don't know how that it's a strange position to be in. Like my Facebook group has, at this point, by the time this comes out, there'll be 28,000 people in there. And I see the background metrics between 70 and 110 new posts a day. 24 of the 28,000 people are active in it, which is crazy because Facebook groups are always like, look, we have 100,000 followers, but when you look, there's 2 posts every week, like
by the same people all the time. Yes.
It's 4 people talking to each other who think they're talking to 100,000 people. But what's really amazing about that is that people will ask a question and then you get a wide variety of answers,
Correct.
but not screwball answers. There's something about people who listen to the podcast and then go online and participate. They have enough information where they're not saying things that you're like, wow, that doesn't make any sense at all. And
right. It's not like Cracker Jack information.
not at all. And if they're a little off, there's such a great vibe in there that other people will come in and be like, hey, I see what you said, but have you considered this? And it's all taken well. And I'm stunned every time I see it, because Facebook is, colloquially, it's a place where people argue, but
yes,
does not happen in this space. Really, really terrific.
Yeah, I've not. I mean, with, all the lurking that I myself do,
Mm-hmm.
in fact, I don't think I've ever seen in your group negativity in a way that's, cutting to other people who've made comments or have offered up, this is what's happening, whatever. And I've seen that in other groups.
Yeah, of course.
Which is unfortunate.
So the way I do it is probably opposite of how people think about it, but I don't over moderate the thing.
Right.
Like, they're adults. You know what I mean? Like, if they can't figure it out, how am I going to figure it out? Little things, there's the rules in the Facebook group are kind of funny. If you go read them, I think it's, like basically it's the equivalent of like, don't be a dick, basically, right. Don't talk about politics, that kind of stuff. Like, just talk about diabetes with people, and it works. And it doesn't just, I at one point thought it was going to be like in addition to the podcast. And then I started realizing that the Facebook group had such a good, it had such good word of mouth online, mm-hmm. that people were ending up in the Facebook group, have no idea what the podcast is. Like, forget that they haven't heard it. They don't know what it is. They were told, like, click on this link and these people will help you with your diabetes. And you see them come in and they'll ask a question. Another person will say, oh, you should try episode this of the podcast. And they'll say, what podcast?
Right.
And that's amazing, because now there's these two entities and they somehow support each other, but can operate separately.
Independently.
Really, really, really interesting. So some feedback from people. If you know other type 1s, reach out to them. If you don't know them, find a community and build a support system. As an adult diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, I didn't know anything about diabetes, and I had a lot of misconceptions. I felt very alone. Finding support groups like Facebook helped. Reading helped a lot. Getting Dexcom helped. I found out about them through Facebook groups. I would have loved to have been assigned an experienced type 1 to talk things through. So this person.
That's a great idea.
It is, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's there. I know that there are diabetes like mentors, especially like I think JDRF used to, if they don't still have it, they mm-hmm. used to have like a mentoring kind of program. I know that the College Diabetes Network has some nice mentors, especially within the college chapters, but that is from a boiled down, like, hey, here's your diagnosis, etc.
Right.
But here's somebody to connect with. This is somebody in your area. This is somebody that, would be really good in terms of age level or lifestyle or whatnot. Because, I can imagine and I have to imagine, because I don't really remember feeling alone when I was diagnosed, but it was a very different time mm-hmm. than we have today with technology. So I think in today's world, since there's so much connection on so many levels, whether it's texting or, a Facebook or some type of online group or whatnot, I think it would be a nice idea to actually be like, hey, here's somebody, connect with them and they can help you like feel okay.
Have conversations. And I think that's one of the places where the podcast fills a void, because I hear from people a lot, I don't know another person with diabetes. And I come on here, and a few times a week, you put these conversations up with people, and I get to meet an airplane pilot who has type
Right.
1 and a firefighter who has type 1, or just some person, and or someone comes on and says, oh, I have Hashimoto's too. And they think I have Hashimoto's. And then,
Right.
it's an opportunity that just doesn't exist in the real world unless you're going to go to a diabetes camp,
Right.
which they have for adults and they have for kids.
Kids.
But that's another thing. It's a week or 2 weeks, and they're not all over the country. And camps are an interesting, I like watching people talk about camps because they're an interesting conversation. People fall on one of two sides of camps. They're either like, camp is the greatest thing. Adults will be like, my best friends I met in camp when I was 16. And then there are people like Arden, who we once said, do you want to go to diabetes camp? And she was like, oh, no, do not make me do that, please. And, and she didn't want to go to camp. Forget it that it was about diabetes.
Right. Right.
I have to skip through a lot of these people's statements. They're lovely, and I want to thank everybody for them. But a number of them are just like, hey, it's the podcast. I found the podcast, and I don't want to just read all of those. This person said, I wish they would have given us more access to a community, but not deliver it to us. Just tell us it existed. Like, tell me there are groups online, that there are podcasts. I had so much fear and anxiety, self-doubt, and blame, no matter how much they say otherwise. But this community of moms and dads and adults with type 1s was amazing for me. I think that's a message for doctors, really.
It is. And I think it shows a degree of sort of a lack of information on the clinician's side, not because they don't want it, but because there's not one that's just an approved, hey, these are the really quality places that you can go for more information. Here's your rip-off card along with your rip-off card about how to carb count. Mm-hmm. Here is your like resources from a community-based level. Yeah. And they're good places. They're not, Johnny's corner shop of information.
So here's I think my focus is pretty clear, but to put it in this episode, I think good, easy to understand information early is important.
Yes.
There is an entire segment of people who believe the absolute opposite. Keep you not understanding, give you small bits of information very slowly. They say don't overwhelm people. We had a real, I'm not a very dramatic person, and online I'm very proud of kind of the pragmatic way that I run a Facebook group. But there was another Facebook group that if you mentioned the podcast in the group, your post would just be deleted. And people would come back to me and say, do you have any idea what happened here? As if I would know. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know these people. But They said, they asked what helps you with diabetes. And I said, I began to listen to the Defining Diabetes series of the Juicebox podcast. Then I moved on to the Pro Tip series. Now my son has this A1C, and it's what helped me. And then they deleted it. And I said, well, it's two things. First of all, people fervently love the podcast. And when they talk about it, they mostly speak very well about it, except for a person who left a review the other day, Jenny, about our Bold Beginnings thing that said they would be better if I didn't talk as much. And
maybe they just like my voice better than yours.
You didn't hurt my feelings, sir.
Sorry, Scott.
No, it's okay. But so I said, so I think there's a little bit of that when people share the podcast over and over and over again, it could probably seem like I put you up to it. And also, it's a weird thing, Jenny, but these Facebook groups become territorial. If you have Facebook group A, Jenny Facebook group, and you say what helped you, and they say Scott's Facebook group, well, then you go to Scott's Facebook group and never come back to Jenny's Facebook group. And that it bothers people. They lose their numbers. And I think the unfortunate thing there is that as let's call it whatever you are, a moderator of your group or whatnot, you're then limiting the quality that you're saying that you're trying to put out there, right? Yes, yeah. You're limiting access to what might work for one person. Great. I'm happy to have somebody go elsewhere if I'm not the right provider or the right caregiver or whatever for you. Go ahead. I would rather that you get
good information and good care. And if you're getting it in a different way from a different place, awesome.
I agree.
I'm glad about that.
Not only do I agree, but that's exactly how I run it. Like if when that happens in my space and somebody's like, what happened? You know, what helped you? And they're like, this XYZ Facebook group, I think, okay, good. Like let them. I think it's a strange thing from a content on some level, Jenny, I'm a content creator, right? And I need people to continue to listen to my content and share it, or it'll just stop. Like it'll just end. It's hard not to be overwhelmed by that feeling. It's difficult to keep up the whatever's best for people is best for people. But I believe that, and that's what I do. Like I also think that the time you spend online in the community, once you find it and realize that it's very valuable, you will spend a fair amount of time there. But it's usually 6 months on the outset, maybe a year, and then people fade away. And that's beautiful. They learn what they need to know and they go back to their lives.
Right.
It's what you would, if you care about people, this is what you would want for them, you know?
Correct.
It's definitely.
And or when there's new information, people who feel like they've learned enough may end up coming back now that there's something new available, something new that there might be information that's, again, discussed in a different way or a completely different technology or something. You know, they'll eventually come back.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So I hear from people, too, that happens to them. They cycle, but then they'll watch their A1C start to drift up and they say, I just went back to listening to the podcast. And it wasn't management stuff anymore because I knew the management stuff. It keeps them engaged, I think.
Yes.
With diabetes.
It's motivating.
Yeah.
And I think because there's enough posting I see, which is really nice, of both, like, let's call it the wonderful day, right? The no hitters where you're like, oh, I'm clearly cured today, you know, right?
Everything I did was perfect.
Right. And then the next day or whatever, there are also posts of, I don't know what's going on, or, you know, this is what's happening. And people chime in and they're like, oh, you know, we've had that before too, and whatever. So it's a sense of when you're trying to get back to your management, sometimes it's a sense of seeing those motivators from other people. Like other people have really bad days too, or really bad times, or have had something occur in their life that got them off track. This is a way to get back on track, to get those motivators. Even if you're just reading and you're not posting anything, it just helps you to stay connected and remind yourself, I know all the tools.
Right.
I just have to put them back in the right places in my life.
And it's on you a little bit to be in the right mindset too, because if you see someone's success and you're in the right mindset, their success looks hopeful.
Yes.
And if you're in the wrong mindset, their success is like, it makes you think, I can bleep this out. It makes you think, oh, fuck you.
Right. Yes. Right.
Oh, what did you bolus for? And your blood sugar didn't go over 120, you mother.
Right. Yes.
Right. But you have to be able to, you have to be able to let that go and to step back and say, this is possible. Like, I think this podcast, as it grows in my mind, it's mostly about what's possible. At this point, right? It's possible to do this. If that person can do it, then I can do it. They might know something that I don't know right now, and I'm stopping myself from reading over and over again. By far, this has been the best community, Juicebox Podcast on Facebook. Starting your podcast, especially Defining Diabetes in the Quick Start series. I wish they would have given me your pro tip series on day one. Like, there are countless comments here about this.
Right.
And I want to tell you this story. Well, let me finish the other side of this. So we say when people are doing well, you can kind of respond to it a couple of ways. And when people are doing poorly, it also is helpful. And that sounds crazy, but it's the same idea. You look and you think, well, they're having a bad day. I've had bad days.
Right.
So this is normal too. You know, it not going well. And it takes away a lot of the angst from the whole thing. Right. It really does.
Yeah.
So this thing at the beginning that I mentioned, I had a message yesterday from this. It's a long message. I'm not going to read it to you, but I'll give you the breakdown. Diagnosed in high school, I think, a senior on his way to college, finds the podcast, listens to a couple of episodes, doesn't keep listening, goes away to college, drinking, weed smoking, spiraling, not paying attention to diabetes whatsoever, blood sugars,
Because it's college.
300s blood sugars higher, A1C going up crazy. Doesn't even worry about it. I think COVID hits, kind of refocuses the person a little bit. Person goes to a doctor, to their endo, and says, hey, I found this podcast and I'm going to try some stuff. And you can already see my A1C starting to come down. I'm seeing some stuff. It's positive. And he starts telling him he's going to try it. Doctor, whatever, do whatever you want, because doctor's not helping. And then the person has a big success, moves the A1C really far. Life is changing, goes back to the doctor, tells them, I want to tell you about the podcast, tells them all about the podcast. The doctor gives them the one of two responses that people tell me about. Either the doctors are like, this is amazing, it's great, whatever you're doing
Keep
is working,
using it.
keep going, or you're just going to spend your whole life staring at your diabetes. And I guarantee you that guy on that podcast doesn't do anything except watch blood sugars and really amazing. Think about that, right? The person takes their A1C from double digits into the sevens. And the advice that the doctor gave them was, stop doing that.
Yeah.
Just
essentially.
fascinating,
yes.
Right? So the kid
essentially telling this person that they're putting too much time and effort into their own health management.
Yeah.
That's really the cut and dry of what this physician was saying.
What's the rest of that sentence that doesn't get spoken? So go ahead and have major problems later in your life, or sooner, maybe,
Right.
But hey, at least you'll be drunk as a sophomore. Like, what the hell are you saying to the kid? Right. Especially because the kid is making a change and is excited about it. And then the doctor steps on it. Fascinating. Yeah. It's fascinating. Happens a lot. You have no idea how many notes I get from people. I went to the doctor. I was super excited. I knew my A1C was going to be lower. I knew my lows were going to be less. And all the doctor told me was to put my A1C higher.
Right.
And this 3 months of hard work, and you're looking for the pat on the butt at the end. And instead you get, don't do that. And it's hard, it's hard for people to push through sometimes.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not surprising to me. We get people all the time who are frustrated with the fact that not only are they usually being told that the highs can be expected, like higher than you would want highs, right? And that if your insulin is working, you're to expect this, or just the comment of, well, that's just diabetes. In today's day and age, that is still a comment that's being, or a message that's being given to people.
Right.
And that's really, really sad.
Yeah.
Really sad.
Especially in a world where I can pick my phone up right now and see that Arden's blood sugar has been somewhere between 80 and 110 for the last 15 hours.
Right.
Like, how can you tell somebody that's just diabetes? Why don't you tell them, hey, here's this stuff that exists, or try that, or good job. How about good job? How about this?
How about good job?
A college person moved their A1C multiple points and found stability. How about good job? That'd be great. Right. By the way, there's another part of that story I can't tell on here, but I'll tell you afterwards. It's about the doctor, and it's fascinating. And I apologize that I can't say it here. When I was diagnosed in 2020, you and Jenny were all I had. This group has been my support and my family. I was kicked out of the ER in DKA with insulin to use as directed, but had to wait 5.5 months for my first endo appointment. Every episode I listened to saved my life and my sanity.
Oh.
Isn't that wonderful?
That's wonderful. And it's also, and I've said it before, but that's why I just love being able to contribute, to what you've put together, because it makes me just smile. That's super awesome.
I'm happy when you're happy, for certain.
Yeah.
Can
I show you I know people can't see this, but this was my day yesterday.
Wow. Jenny's showing me a graph. That's 24 hours?
Oh yeah, it's 24 hours.
Yeah. Some of you might look at it and be like, Jenny. Yeah, Jenny.
Well, some of my data to kind of, I have an endo appointment coming up, and I like to take photos and whatnot of like really busy days. Like it included a run, and it included swimming in the afternoon with my boys, and it included like all these things. And not every day is 100% like that, but They're the
Yeah.
pretty days where you're like,
I know.
I did it.
That's exactly right. And you should, by the way, celebrate that stuff. You
Yes.
really should. And it's very important. So anyway, I put this in this series because I didn't realize how important it was when I started, and I've learned. And B, I think it's hard for people to accept, especially in the beginning. Like, you didn't want to have diabetes. And now what?
No.
Now you're going to surround yourself with more people with diabetes, right? You're probably like, I wasn't looking to be in this club, thanks. You know, but it's just like, give into it. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're one of those people who learns and stays on the Facebook page for years helping other people, or if you get what you need and you leave, or if you never say a word and you just read it. It doesn't matter. There's something really valuable about it.
Right.
And it's not completely possible to quantify, but I am 100% sure it works. And there's this long message here that I won't read the entire thing, but this person said they found the podcast and it felt overwhelming. And I understand that. And that's why something like Bold Beginnings exists, and why Defining Diabetes exists, and all these other series that are inside of the podcast. So I did something, Jenny, the other day that I want to put right in here.
Yay.
So there's juiceboxpodcast.com, which is it's a website where you can go and see most recent episodes, and a few of the series, like pro tips and stuff, are broken out on the front page, because there are now 741 episodes of the podcast as at this recording. And podcast apps, while they're amazing, it's not the Dewey Decimal System. It's not super easy to find stuff. You have to know what you're searching for if you're going to search. So I've had for a long time another URL, diabetesprotip.com. And it just used to be an online player of the Pro Tip series and the Defining Diabetes series. But the other night, let me get it up here so I can make sure I'm saying this correctly. Diabetesprotip.com. I revamped.
Tip or tips?
It's tip, because tips
No
was
S.
taken. No S.
Really?
Leave
That's
off,
weird.
Leave off the last S for savings, Jenny. I at first I thought, diabetesprotips.com.
Yes.
And then it was taken, so I used diabetesprotip.com. When you get there, you scroll a little bit, and there's a player. The player has, the first one you'll see, Defining Diabetes, 44 episodes of that. And you can scroll right through it.
Do we really do that many?
Yes, Jenny. Don't worry. There'll be more, too. Like, you just scroll through, and there's a player right there. You can play them in order. You can play them one at a time, or you can see the episode names and numbers and go back into your podcast player and find them there if that's, easier for you. But you scroll a little farther. The Bold Beginnings series is there, which as of this recording has 11 episodes. We'll have more by the time you get there. 22 episodes of the Diabetes Variables series. 25 episodes of the Pro Tip series. After Dark is now up to 27 episodes. And the cool thing about this is that as I add new episodes, they automatically populate in these players.
That's great.
I don't have to go back in and add them. Like, I put up a Pro Tip, I put up an After Dark episode today, and it's already available there. And then there are the Wellness series, which was mostly with Erica Forsyth. And Erica and I are planning on doing a lot more in the coming months and years. Our Ask, you know when we do Ask Scott and Jenny episodes?
Yeah.
Do you know how many? Do you know how many there are now?
I don't know.
18 as of this recording. So
wow, really?
People send in questions and we record episodes answering their questions. There's 18 of them. Algorithm Pumping series is up to 17 episodes. Defining Thyroid series we did is there. I'm about to add some pregnancy episodes. So basically any collection of management type stuff, if you can't find it in your podcast player, will always be at diabetesprotip.com. And you can get to it through juiceboxpodcast.com as well.
Good organization. I like that.
Yes, I know.
That's the kind of person I like. Organization.
I think we all know that that's not my wheelhouse, and it's pretty crazy that I even did that. But anyway, it seems important. I mean, listen, from a podcaster standpoint, I just want you listening in a podcasting app. It's the best thing for the show. But at some point, I realized Like this podcast has become, it's a compendium of information
Mhm.
and it should be accessible, you know, in multitudes of ways. So that's one of them. I hope it helps everybody.
Well, good job.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome. Very
right.
nice.
Thank you, Jenny.